know why so many people are against propaganda? Because propaganda in itself is not a bad thing. When a corporation puts on an advertisement, that is called propaganda. Like, for instance, the corporation Tesla is going to put an advertisement where they say only the positive things about Tesla. They will omit to say any of the negatives. They will obviously never talk about any of the malfunctioning issues. They will never interview someone that's dissatisfied with their product and put that on an ad. Because the advertisement is propaganda. It only propagates the positive aspects of Tesla. But that's okay, because in a world where information is allowed to be spread freely, there are other car manufacturers that compete with Tesla. You will see advertisements from other companies, and you as a citizen get to look at the various car models and get to decide for yourself which car you want to buy. And then you can go online and you can see forums where other people talk about Tesla, and they will tell you the negative aspects that they had with the car or the positives. And again, you as an adult are capable of making the decision whether or not Tesla is a company for you. So again, like, propaganda by itself isn't the problem if information is allowed to travel freely. Propaganda becomes a problem when all the other information becomes suppressed. Like, imagine if Elon Musk would use his power in the United States and they would somehow consider that any negative criticism towards Tesla is misinformation and actually leads to harm. He would say that, look, people that criticize our company have left to unhinged activists burning down the stores. They're endangering the life of the people working there. And so we ask social media to crack down on any type of criticism to our companies, because at the end of the day, it's also misinformation. Tesla has hired a team of experts that have decided that this is actually a really great car, and most of the information coming that goes against our experts is against the science. And so you'd have a system now where everything is cracked down, and people aren't allowed to speak, and the only topic that comes is from Tesla. Now, if you tell this story to most people, they would realize why this is batshit insane. Like, no society will go along with that, because they would understand the conflict of interest. Tesla is a company that's designed to make money by selling cars. And so they obviously don't want people talking negative things about their cars because it affects their bottom line. So they would have an interest to shut down any type of criticism. And so, like, people understand this, which is why we don't allow private companies to behave this way. However, people don't understand this when the government behaves in the exact same way, because the government also functions on propaganda. In the government, you have various political parties, which also have a message. That is what they are trying to sell. They want you to accept their message, and in exchange, you vote for them. Well, you don't pay the money. It's not the same like they're selling you a car. They are selling you the message. You buy the message by voting. And so it is in the interest of the political party that's in charge so that only their message gets to be promoted. Criticism against their message is dangerous because it can allow them to lose their seats. And so you get to notice this thing happening in the United Kingdom. Like, the party in charge does not want people to criticize immigration, does not want people to criticize environmentalism, does not want people to criticize feminism, because this is what gets their votes. And so by suppressing the opposition, by saying that all messages that go against the party are evil, either they cause harm or they're filled with misinformation, disinformation, their team of experts debunk them, whatever the case, is in their interests. And so when you have a Netflix film, Adolescence, which basically suggests that if you allow young people to get exposed to right-wing messages online, they become serial killers, then the government likes to work hand in hand with these people. The ones making the movie now get a lot of money, now get a lot of exposure. Apparently, this work of fiction was considered to be shown in every school, which begs the question, who gets paid for that? Where is the money going? Are the directors of the film going to get any royalties for this? Because at the end of the day, like, everyone that goes to school has a Netflix account. Like, this is not an extremely expensive movie. This is something that people can actually see from their own homes. Like a Netflix subscription isn't that expensive, but the reason the government wants it is because it's establishment propaganda. Like, do you honestly think that if these people were to make a movie about a person that comes from a wealthy family, everything is great, but they get radicalized online by listening to environmentalist rhetoric, and then they go out and they burn a Tesla and they get arrested and the parents are crying, and like while they were burning a Tesla, maybe a guy was inside, right? If they were to make that movie talking about leftist ideology, do you think that the government would say, yeah, like this is actually great? I think like everyone should see the dangers of the internet because anyone can join a radical activist group and then commit crime. Of course not, right? What if it was a movie about the story of a teenager that manages to come from the Middle East where his country is bombed by NATO and he has like a deep passionate hatred towards the West. And so he travels in the UK, he throws away his documents while on the dinghy so that he can't be traced, and then in the UK he commits a terrorist attack. Do you think the government would promote that movie? Do you think Netflix would allow that movie? Because this is the problem, it's not the movie itself, which is a work of fiction and of course should exist, but it's like the suppression of all other type of content. And this type of content that does promote the government gets boosted, artificially so. I haven't seen many people who watch this movie think that it was life-changing or incredibly insightful. No, the people that are pushing this seem either to be working in a cubicle at a corporation, or they're government stooges, or people part of PR agencies or establishment. Like, if you go on the street and talk with other people who see Netflix Adolescence, most people either go like, meh, or I haven't seen it, I don't care. But okay, let's talk about online safety. Other people that are consultants would probably charge $10,000 for what I'm about to say. The grift keeps on going with consultancy firms, right? I will tell you about online safety for free, and I guarantee to you that the message that I'm giving you is far and beyond what the government from Britain can provide. Because my message has something that the government of Britain doesn't have, which is common sense. Okay, so let's discuss online safety. The first question is right-wing indoctrination a problem? Well, it depends how you define the problem, and it depends how you define right-wing indoctrination, but I can tell you this. The governments in Eastern Europe, Poland, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, are more right-wing than the government in the UK. Like, we have more strict gender roles in our country than UK does. We have more control over our borders in our country than UK does. If you think Tommy Robinson is far-wing, you would have to create a new adjective to describe Eastern European governments. We're like extra super duper deluxe 2025 plus right-wing. That's how right-wing we are. And despite all that, we don't have teenagers killing each other. So maybe it's not like the right-wing message that's the problem. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure there are Middle Eastern governments that are more right-wing than Eastern Europe, but we're definitely more right-wing than UK, and we don't have their problems. And so maybe you should fire your consultants and your experts because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. The problem isn't with the message. It's not a right-wing or a left-wing message. The problem is with the politicians. The politicians are the ones that are supposed to guarantee safety to a nation. And if a nation has crime on the streets, then the question is like, do the politicians not want to solve the crime, or are they incompetent in solving it? We notice in California now, when Xi Jinping had a visit, immediately the streets of California were cleaned. Like, within a day, they managed to clean up the entire streets. And so it is possible if the politicians want to do it, but they seem to either not want to or be incapable. And this is the problem, right? Like, the thing that politicians are the most afraid of is accountability, because they can lose their seats. And so they don't want to talk about, oh, we are incompetent, we're not doing a good job. No, they want people to fight with each other. Oh, it's the movie Adolescence. Oh, it's the internet. That's the problem. It's, right? Now, regarding online safety, when I was a kid, there were very strict rules that kept people safe on the internet. And the rules weren't about censoring or policing the internet, because private companies and the government have no interest in doing that. The only thing that they have interest is to keep their politicians in power and to keep the bureaucracy going. And so if you give them the power to do that, they will use it with that purpose. And secondarily, they may actually try to pretend that they're doing something. And so the conversation has to start on the fact that the internet isn't dangerous. It is extremely dangerous. Because it is. You know, there's a lot of channels now that try to copy Chris Hansen with How to Catch a Predator. And I was shocked to see just how much content these channels have. Like, they're catching a predator every single day of the week. And you're like, well, how are there so many people? And you're thinking, well, maybe they're catching them using some obscure website, or maybe they're gathering them. No, they're catching them from mainstream social media accounts. So the owner of the channel creates a fictional profile of a kid, and then the predators contact the kid. So now you understand just how dangerous it is. Like, these social media platforms, they claim they have trust and safety councils, and it has the word safety, so it gives the illusion of safety. It's not safe. It never was. It wasn't when I grew up. It's not now. The internet is a dangerous place, and predators are just one of the problem. You have scammers. You have various activists that do try to indoctrinate your kids into various ideologies. Like, for instance, imagine if your kid goes out and burns a Tesla. You have, like, all sort of nefarious people online. And so once you understand that the internet is dangerous, then you can begin the conversation. What do you do when you walk in a dangerous neighborhood? Like, it's late at night and you have to walk in that place. And you know it's a dangerous neighborhood. What do? Well, you try to protect yourself, right? Like, you carry a weapon with you. You're more careful about your surroundings. You're not showing any valuables, right? So with this mentality in mind, applying it to the internet is the same thing. How do you have online safety? Well, first of all, don't give out your name. Don't give out your personal information. Never meet someone from the internet online. Do not download or click on links from people you don't know. Teach people about basic internet hygiene. And that is how you actually have internet safety. And then it's also the role of the parent, which, again, is never mentioned in these conversations anymore. But the role of the parent is crucial. Never before has technology allowed parents to have so much supervision on their kids. Like, you can literally install a program on your kid's laptop, and on your smartphone, you can see everything that your kid is browsing. You can see who your kid is talking to. If you give your kid cash, like when my mom used to give me cash, I could go and spend it on whatever. I could go and spend it on arcades or any other type. My mom would have no idea. But now when you give a credit card to your kid, you can literally see his bank account transactions. There is absolutely no justification for the lack of parenting. And so instead of putting pressure on the corporations to do more, the pressure should be put on the parents to start parenting. But there is no political will to do this, because the political will is to allow the government to have more censorship, more crackdowns online, removal of any privacy from their citizens, and they can work hand in hand with private entities like this guy, right? So like this guy probably got some tax breaks from the United Kingdom, if not actual funding. Most nations now do have various programs for filmmakers and people that create entertainment, and you get them as long as you follow a checkbox, right? Like, you need to have diversity, you need to have inclusivity, you need to have certain themes. Like, again, the movies that I suggested in the beginning most likely wouldn't get a grant. And then he makes the movie, right? Like, the taxpayer has to back some of that, either by getting him tax exemptions or funding. And then he makes the movie, shows it to the government, and then the government benefits from this ideology. Like, the movie basically says we need more censorship, we need more bureaucracy on the internet. And then he gets royalties, right? Like he manages to show the movies in public schools. He gets prestige. He gets his face on all the newspapers. Everyone knows who he is now, right? Like, the movie gets even more critically acclaimed. And so you see how one hand washes the other, how the government and the private sector works hand in hand in order for both of them to get power and get wealthy. If only there was an ideology that talked about how a world where the private sector and the public sector work hand in hand for the betterment of the people. If only there was something like that. Maybe they can create it. Maybe Britain can create a new ideology that never existed, especially not before World War II. Again, I don't know if this guy actually got tax breaks from the United Kingdom or funding, but someone should look into it because I would be almost certain